a man fights with many prisoners. He beats up one of the prisoners who took his bracelet. It's very special to him. He manages to get it back. A man phones a police officer, Agashe, about a murder he is about to commit. The police officer thinks he is making a joke. He doesn't understand what's happening. Meanwhile, another man, Michael, is having Christmas dinner with his wife, Teresa, and family. His family talk to his wife about starting a family. It's clear that she and Michael have a strained marriage. She keeps receiving text messages and excuses herself. Michael goes after her and sees that she is texting someone. She is called and leaves her phone in the kitchen. Michael looks at her phone and sees texts between her and a lover, saying he is coming to fetch her. He is about to confront her, but he is called to a crime scene as he is a police officer. Inspectors believe that it was a robbery, but Michael knows it isn't. The victim was someone from Michael's department. Agashe is also there, saying he received a phone call that this was going to happen. He wanted to see if it was a joke or a challenge. It turns out it was a challenge, which he loves. He knows that this was no ordinary killer, but a monster. As Agashe explains how the killer killed the victim, he knows that this is not the end, but only the beginning. We see the killer wearing a red hoodie. He is the prisoner from the beginning of the movie. His bracelet reminds him of a better time 5 years earlier. A woman in London, on her way somewhere, gives her laptop and phone to a homeless man. Meanwhile, a man in Mumbai is on his way somewhere. The woman and man both arrive at Goa. They are both at a beach club. The fireworks start and they bump into each other. There is an instant connection. The police have come to raid the club, and everyone runs in all directions. He goes to his motorcycle. He helps her and they both escape the police. He thinks someone must have tipped the police of drugs in that club. The woman wants to go to the next party. They find another party and she asks the guy to see where they can find some drugs. She sees a woman with dreadlocks who has something. She asks if she and the guy are together temporarily or permanent. They haven't decided yet. She gives her the drugs and says it's on her. She tells them to stay together. She takes one pill and the guy is shocked. She gives him one and helps him loosen up. They go into the ocean and kiss. The next morning, he wakes up in a tent. He joins her on the beach. He is fascinated by her bracelet of knots. She explains that the thread is her and each knot represents a fear she wants to overcome. She just wants to try everything. She asks about him. He will be in Goa for a few more days and then head north. They say their goodbyes. He wants to give her his number, but she doesn't have a phone. He forgot to tell her his name, which is Advait. Her name is Sarah. Back in the present, the same man is expressionless, having remembered this. He was waiting for Jessie, the woman from the club, who hands him a syringe and medicine. Michael learns that the victim died from a drug overdose. The killer, Advait, phones Agashe, telling him it's his job to find out who he is. In the meantime, he will kill another police officer. He wishes him a happy solstice. They find out that he's in the carnival area of the city. Fellow police officers share that the suspect is wearing a red hoodie. Agashe and Michael rush to the carnival. One of the unsuspecting police officers sees his family, but is then taken away by Advait. He beats him up, while the police rush to the carnival. Advait injects him with a drug. Agashe sees the officer being thrown through the window. He goes into the parade and sees the suspect with the red hoodie, but he disappears into the crowd, who are all wearing red. At the same time, Advait thinks back to better times, when he met Sarah again. She was climbing on some rocks and happy and surprised to see him. He thought it would be a good idea to open the threads of her bracelet with her, meaning overcoming their fears together. He sees the ocean at the edge of the cliffs and tells Sarah to be careful. She asks him if he's scared of heights, and he is. She takes his hand and they jump off the cliff into the ocean. He asks her if she's crazy. She says you can't be scared of the same fear twice. From there, they overcome more fears, such as kite surfing. Sarah says her parents worked hard for a good life. But because they worked so hard, they had no life. She makes a deal with Advait, saying that they'll only live for themselves. No home, family, or friends. They do more adventurous things. They are at the club and having a good time. But then Jessie collapses. They use her EpiPen on her. Later, she is recovering in the hospital, and they are glad to see she's okay. Jessie talks about the first time she came to Goa, as a backpacker, with a little money and a lot of confidence. Now she has no money and no confidence. She works as an escort to afford drugs and parties. She knows that she is living a dangerous lifestyle that will kill her someday. Later, Sarah reflects on Jessie's situation. Everyone wants freedom, even if there's no peace. Advait says that Jessie needs a lot of peace in her life. He asks her what peace means for her. Sarah remembers Christmas as her favorite time, with her parents, who are no more. Her parents would dress up and dance to old Bollywood songs. Advait takes Sarah to someone else's home. Sarah is unsure, but Advait reminds her that life means choices. They both dress up with the clothes that are there. Advait has decorated a ladder as a Christmas tree, which Sarah loves. She appreciates all he has done for her and kisses him. Back in the present, an expressionless Advait is sad, thinking back to the good times. The police are investigating the latest murder. Both deceased cops were killed from a drug overdose. They research who the cops had sent to prison, related to narcotics, and found Advait Thakur, a drug peddler. He had been sent to prison 5 years prior and was released the day before. A photo of him and Jesse, who had been helping him, is sent out. The police officers receive information that the killer is at the soccer stadium. Advait has his eye on one of the police officers in the stadium. He follows the police officer. Meanwhile, the cops are on their way to the stadium when Michael sees Jesse and follows her. The police officer, along with other cops facing Advait, is not afraid of him. Then the power goes out and the rest of the cops fire. Advait beats them up. Now the policeman is afraid and runs to the roof. Advait beats him up and holds him at the edge of the building. Then the policeman realizes who he is. The policeman lands on the roof of a police vehicle. The police chase Advait, who makes a great leap and escapes. Meanwhile, Michael has followed Jessie to her home. She rushes to burn any evidence. Michael kicks the door in and sees the plan of attacks on the wall. Agashe has spotted Advait in the basement parking. He wants to shoot him, but he surrenders. He informs Agashe that there's still a lot to happen that night. Jessie informs Michael that the killer they are looking for won't spare anyone. One of the police officers cannot believe that Advait had surrendered. Agashe says he can't put his finger on it, but he'd seen the suspect somewhere before. Back in the past, Sarah found out that she is pregnant. At a beach club, Advait wants her to party, but she's not in the mood. She overhears a conversation between a father and daughter. The father, Agashe, doesn't want his daughter, Vani, to party, as she is not 18 years old yet. She reassures him that she'll be home by 10 p.m. She makes a video and sends it to him. Sarah is in the background. Another policeman, Borkar, informs Agashe that the drug peddler, Nigel they had released, is out selling drugs again. He is at Waves Club, where Sarah, Advait, and Vani are. Advait asks Sarah why she's not in the partying mood. She informs him that she's pregnant and he's stunned. She laughs and says they'll sort it out.